Hmm. Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
We're back. It's episode 103 of the Brunch and Judge.
Yes, it is.
Oi. Welcome back, everyone. We are your hosts. I'm April.
And I'm Claire.
And we are back to talk, of course, more cultiness. Yay!
All the cults.
I mean, I just really enjoy the cults because, like, I have, like, my faves.
Right.
And so, like, those are fun. And then I was gonna do, because, like, I want to do Scientology. Like, I need to. But, like, This wasn't the time because I just started a new job and I just can't. But
yeah. So,
like, I was like, oh, what kind of fun cults have I not heard of? And then, well, Lord. So I'm going to be telling you a story that's got a high body count, but it's not nearly as gruesome as Claire's story.
Yeah, mine really didn't have
the body count. Yeah, it was like one. Yeah. It was really one person, unfortunately.
I think ultimately there might have been like 2 or 3 total.
Fair.
Because but definitely the one. But yeah, but it was definitely gross.
Yes. I thought about it a lot today.
April's like, that now lives in my brain rent free.
I'm literally, my job right now, or one of the things that I'm working on is literally making like a dictionary because it's a tech company and there's so much tech speak that, you know, average Joe doesn't know. I don't know. So,
you're like, I don't even know what these words mean.
So, like, I feel like I'm a good insight on making it, dumbing stuff down for the normal user. So, like, but like, I'm, working on a dictionary and thinking about, I mean, like, God, her intestines were outside of her body, and I just never could recover from it.
She's like, I can't.
Well, and then I was like, somehow Claire told back-to-back stories in which people were like horrifically mutilated and like intestines were in places they shouldn't be or like gone or whatever. So I'm like, Claire's on a thing, man.
This was not my intention, okay?
It just happens.
This one snuck up on me.
That's fair.
It was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, here's another cult. And it was, it started out as all cults do. And then it turned into something that I was like, this sounds like a really, really bad Criminal Minds episode. And like you said, from the dark days.
From the dark days. When Mandy Patinkin was like, we're not doing this anymore, I'm out. And I'm like, fair.
I mean, this sounded, when you're like, I can't watch this by myself. This is really creeping me out. I live alone and it's freaking me out.
So mine is dark, but in a different way. And I mean, bad things happen, but it's also kind of funny. Not like ha-ha funny, but like kind of ha-ha funny. So I'm going to be telling you the story.
All right.
I'm going to be telling you the story of Ervil LeBaron.
Ervil?
Ervil. E-R-V-I-L.
Okay.
I mean, it's really close to evil for a reason. Just letting you know. Like, who thought this was a good idea? He is the Mormon Manson.
The Mormon Manson.
Yes, which I'm like, the hell is this?
Okay. All right. I'm here for it. Let's go. Okay.
So I got my information from Wikipedia, The Daily Beast, People, and a documentary I stumbled upon on Hulu called Daughters of the Cult.
Okay.
So, like, also go watch it because it's, I couldn't go into all the things. Like, there's just, we'd be here forever.
Right. Okay.
So, like, go watch the documentary because you're like, the fuck, what? Anyway.
You're like, excuse me?
So obviously we're talking about one of my favorite cults, Mormons. But like the extra weird ones that are really not okay.
Right.
There's layers.
There are levels.
So if you recall from the last time I talked about the culty Mormon group, the FLDS, the year is 1890, and that is when the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints formally rejects the practice of polygamy in order for Utah to gain statehood. Remember?
Okay, yes. Uh-huh.
So, like, obviously that didn't go over well for
right.
everyone.
I mean, right, yeah.
So, like, some people kind of splintered off, and so we had, obviously, the fundamentalists that continued on, but some of them moved to Mexico because for some reason that I don't understand, and I didn't go into it because time, was that Mexico was basically like, no, it's fine here, come move here. Like, they were asking them to move to Mexico. That sounds bananas to me, but it's 1890. I don't know things.
Right. No, that does seem weird, though, because I feel like Mexico is, like, expressly, like, Catholic.
Right? But I don't know.
That, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they then, like, kicked them out again when we had the whole Mexican-American War thing, and then they kind of let them back in. It's a whole big... I left all that out, because, like, they went to Mexico. It's really all you need to know.
Okay.
Among the people that eventually left Utah and went to Mexico was a man named Alma, which I thought was...
Yeah.
Whatever. Alma Dayer LeBaron Sr.
Okay.
Now, he was diehard into the polygamy of it all because his grandfather was actually the secretary for Joseph Smith. So, like, very close. So, like,
Gotcha.
you know, I get it. So he ended up moving to Chihuahua, which, thank God, Chihuahua, because it's one of the few places I can say.
You're like, I know how to say this.
It's like Chihuahua.
Yeah, right, Chihuahua.
So he ends up moving to Mexico with, at the time he had 2 wives and maybe 8 children. But again, different accounts, different amounts.
Right, yeah.
He had more than 1 wife and more than 1 child, and that's really ultimately all that matters. And they end up settling there in 1924. So, like, it wasn't an immediate thing, you know, growing pains or whatever. And they started a farm there. They made their own little colony, and they named it Colonia LeBaron, because why not? Now, even from, like, the very beginning, he had at least 5 sons and 1 daughter. After that, I'd get confused.
Okay.
But he at least had 5 sons and 1 daughter. The second youngest son was named Joel. And from basically Joel's appearance into the family, Alma declared that Joel was going to be the leader of the church. It was going to be the leader of their spirituality or whatever. And that he was like the prophet or like the person who was going to usher in the second coming, or I don't know. Basically, you know, prophet. He's the chosen one. Not the oldest son. Not the second oldest son.
That's weird. It's like the second youngest. Like,
second youngest son.
Whatever.
So, like, whole life. This is what he is, who he's going to be, whatever. But then the youngest son was Ervil.
What kind of name is that?
I don't know. But, like, most of the names in here, I mean, like, 98% of the names in here are all very biblical names.
Right.
And I'm like, where did you get Ervil? It's so close to evil that, like, were you asking for this to happen?
You're like, it is literally 1 letter off.
Literally 1 letter off. To the point that, like, trying to type up my notes, it kept trying to autocorrect to evil.
You're
like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, autocorrect. But also, you're not right. So Ervil was Joel's younger brother and was far more charismatic. Just people,
than Joel?
Yes. And, like, was really into converting people. Like, he could tell by the look in their eye when he had sold them just enough to pull them in. Like, he was really good at it. And together they created, or perhaps their father created, different sources, different information. They had a church, and it was called, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It was called the Church of the Firstborn of the Fullness of Times. I have no idea what any of that means. None of them were the firstborn, so I don't have any concept what the hell it's talking about.
Firstborn of the fullness of time. The
fullness of times.
That's a mouthful. Nobody wants to, yeah.
Wait, okay, so even if you, like, do, like, the abbreviation or whatever, it's like CFFT?
Yeah.
Because you're leaving out all the other stuff, but whatever.
Yeah,
anyway.
like, weird.
And so things were good for a while. Joel was the prophet and the leader, but Ervil was right there converting people, bringing them in, yada, yada. But then in 1951, Alma dies and passes this cult fully on to his sons. And of course, leadership fully passed on to Joel, and Ervil was second in command. And at this point, they had about 30 different families who were part of it that were living. So, like, they had their colony in Chihuahua, but they had, like, a church. Their church was located in Los Molinos, which is near, like, Baja, like in that peninsula. But then they also had some people who had joined their cult that were still in Utah.
Okay.
So, complicated.
But they had people who were part of their church that were not, like, in their colony? Is that what you're saying?
Right. So the colony was just, like, family. So, like,
Gotcha.
I guess. And it's how I understand it. And then they had, like, a physical location that was also sort of like a commune. Like, it was buildings, a self-sufficient kind of a thing that was near Baja. Then they had some families who were part of it that were tithing into this and believing all the crazy that were still in Utah. So, whatever.
Gotcha.
And so that's how things were when Alma died. But then I'm sure we're shocked to know that eventually Ervil fell out with Joel.
Right, yeah.
So 1972, because of course we got to be in basically the exact same time when we talk about stuff, Claire.
Right.
God, the 70s. What can I say?
I know.
So even though Ervil was not the leader and was absolutely not the prophet, he was suddenly the one that was getting all the revelations. Not Joel. Ervil was getting them. And they seemed to be going against the teachings that Joel was going with. So, like, friction happened, obviously.
Yeah.
Joel, of course, was trying to, like, rein his brother in, but, like, things got really bad and had to basically ask him to leave and excommunicated him from the church because that's just what they do.
Right, yeah.
Everybody's excommunicated all the time in the Mormon, whatever. It came up so much that I was like, is it really that big of a deal? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, to them, I'm sure it is. But, like, on the outside, I'm like, they're heading them out, like, you know. Cookies.
Yeah.
And
like
you're
it
excommunicated. Yeah. And you're excommunicated. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you disagreed with me? We're just booting you out. Like,
I know. It's like, what? Okay, whatever. I don't care. But so Joel and one of their other brothers named Verlin, older brother. I don't know where Verlin came from. Verlan. I got nothing. I don't know. Thank you.
These names,
bizarre.
Yeah.
So Joel and Verlin.
Ervil and Verlin. Like, I just, like, almost sounds like vermin. Evil and vermin.
I'm not going to say.
That's what I'm, yeah.
I'm here for it.
I'm just saying.
So Joel and Verlin took over running the church in Los Molinos, the Baja area. And Ervil and some of the members who believed him and his revelations that left with him went back to the Colonia LeBaron in Chihuahua.
Okay.
And there they formed their new church, the Church of the Lamb of God.
Okay.
it's a shorter name at least.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Ervil.
And that makes a little bit more sense than firstborn.
Right. The fullness of the time. Like, what is that?
I don't even know.
Like, I watched most of this documentary because it's like 6 or 7 parts. So like, that's a lot. And like, they never, like, they said the name, but like, what
only thing I think of like
mean?
the firstborn was like the whole Passover firstborn.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
It's like the only thing I can think of like firstborn.
Maybe. I mean, it's fair.
But of the fullness of the times, like, I don't know. Don't know what that's about.
I don't know. I mean, ultimately, they thought they were the chosen of all the chosen. The super extra chosen. Right. I mean,
the super extra chosen.
I mean, that's like... It's not like you're just the chosen. You're like...
We're the super
extra chosen. I swear that's how it comes across to me when I hear it. I'm like, okay... Because everyone's the chosen. So, like, I guess you have to differentiate somehow.
When you say that, it reminds me of, like, Mojo Dojo Casa House from Barbie movie. That's what it reminds me of.
Super extra chosen.
The Mojo Dojo Casa House. It's like, what? Okay, anyway,
okay.
Sorry.
No. That's wonderful. I love it. Because, like, none of this is good. This is all terrible.
Oh, yeah.
It's all terrible. Other than Ervil. His name is ridiculous. So I will continue to make fun of that forever. So Ervil had 13 or maybe 14 wives. My favorite thing about watching the first episode of this documentary is they're talking to like some of his daughters, like some of his children. And they're like, yeah, he had 13. No, he had 14. Are you sure? I thought it was 13. I'm pretty sure it was 14. Like, they didn't even know. Idea. They're like, so 13 or 14 wives.
We don't know.
And they finally settled on him having over 50 children because they weren't really sure how to count. He's like 51, 52, 55, over 50. And I wrote down this line because I was like, quotable. This is quotable. People will come up with different numbers depending on different circumstances. Pause. Polygamous math is hard. And I was like,
oh, that pause.
Polygamous math is hard.
Math is hard.
And I was like,
that is very cool. That is a notable quotable right there.
Thank you. And I need that to be the new math. Like we've done like boy math and girl math and cat math on the TikTok. Let's have polygamous math. Let's see what that's like.
Yes.
I mean, of course, it was absolutely fucking terrible. Polygamy is terrible, and yes, here it was even worse than like even like the FLDS because like it was so very strict. They were basically brainwashed from birth, even more so than
FLDS.
Yes, yeah. And you know they believed that they were God's chosen ones who were favored by God. But that the children and women basically existed to be like slave labor for Ervil. Because here's the thing that made me more angry than anything else is that Ervil never had a job. He never worked anywhere, did anything, brought in any money that wasn't related to the churchy garbage. But his wives and children, like from like 6 years old, like they were
supported his ass.
Yes. But
isn't there? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I know I'm not wrong. There is something in the Bible that talks about like if you don't work, you don't fucking eat.
I mean, I'm sure he would argue he was doing God's work, Claire.
No, that's not the Lord's work. That is not the Lord's work.
I mean,
I can tell you that right now.
I'm with you. And as things pan out, things did not work out for him in the end. So
obviously. So obviously he was not doing the Lord's work.
He was not. But so on top of this horrificness where he's basically creating children that he never sees, by the way. He's like most of the kids never met him really.
Right.
Like he was always some distant whatever. But like, so this is terrible. But then it gets worse because part of his religion part of the revelations he's getting from God is the concept of blood atonement.
No. But I don't even want to know what he thinks that means.
Oh, so I'll tell you. Essentially, individuals have to pay in their own blood in order to atone for their sins. Now, what sins are those, Claire? Those sins are people who went against Ervil, because Ervil is God's chosen prophet, of course. There were times when he believed that he was the second coming of the Messiah, that he was Jesus.
So when are we talking about just like cutting a hand, or like
no, we are not talking about cutting off a boob or an arm or any of those things. We're talking about death, dead and super dead. This is Manson. This is the Mormon Manson.
So that's what I was like. We're not talking about like, oh, I'm just going to slice my palm open and bleed on your little altar and call it good.
Nope.
Damn it.
Nope.
Okay.
So
also, it's like legit sacrificing people.
Right. Not like sacrificing, just killing them because they went against you, and he's saving their souls. They didn't want that.
But really, he's just getting his own revenge or vengeance or whatever because he didn't like you.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's just super fucking convenient.
Well, and also, as if that wasn't bad enough, also it was revealed to him from God that obviously they really needed to go ahead and start marrying those underage girls. So,
gross. Oh, so gross.
So like lots of underage marriages, lots of sexual grooming, all of that horrificness. Apparently they thought 13 was a great age to start having babies. So like gross. It's all horrifying, gross. So like not just him, but like the other people that are like bad. The normal thing that's terrible and bad is also terrible and bad here in horrific ways. But on top of that, if you don't like it or you go against anything, you'll probably just get murdered. Which is, like, it's horrific. Okay.
Was it like a public execution, or was it just like...
Oh, we'll get there. Are you ready?
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're getting too excited. So...
Am I?
You're too excited. Obviously...
Like, I have questions.
One of the first people that God revealed to Ervil that needed to be blood atoned for disobeying Ervil as God's one true mighty prophet was Joel.
I was going to say, is it Joel or Verlin? Probably one of those two.
Joel. I mean, even though Joel was supposed to be the prophet, he's not, according to Ervil. So, like, must be blood atoned. So, like, Ervil had people that 100% were with him. One of those people was a man named Dan Jordan. He was also a big bag of shit, but
you're like, yeah.
So also on top of all of this, and probably because it's Mexico and drug cartels and God only knows, but like everybody has guns. They're teaching all like the children how to shoot guns, so like they have machine guns. Everybody's learning how to shoot.
Oh my God.
Everybody has guns. It's fine. But so Dan and another follower that was not Ervil, on August 20th, 1972, lure Joel to an abandoned shack. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what they said to him. I'm sure he had no idea what was coming.
Well, yeah, obviously.
He wouldn't. But so they beat him with a chair leg that they found in the shack. And then they shot him in the face.
Oh my gosh.
And that was just the beginning of the murderous spree that lay ahead.
Ooh. Gosh.
So Joel dies. He's dead. So Verlin takes over the church. So 2 years later, 1974, Ervil's followers are coming. Their goal, they want to kill Verlin. He's bad. He's obviously needing to be blood atoned. He went against Ervil. So they get to the Los Molinos colony area, and they set fire to a building, which causes a lot of people to come out to try and help put the fire out. It's a fire, because they don't know.
Right.
And that's when they start shooting And so they end up killing 2 of the people and injuring 19 others.
Holy shit.
And then after that...
So this was like a trap. It was like
it's a trap.
It was an ambush. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, they burned down several other buildings and homes just for kicks and giggles. But Verlin was not there. He had fled earlier because he knew that Ervil was out to kill him.
Wow. I mean, good for him for like... And he probably didn't realize that they were going to do all that.
Well, because you're like, he hates me. Why would he? But
right.
You just... It went from 0 to like 3 million, like super fast.
Yes.
Just like, the fuck is happening? So then, there is a rival polygamous Mormon sect leader in Utah.
Oh, a rival.
I mean, just as far as I can tell, just a different one. His name was Rulin Allred, and he apparently was friends with Verlin.
Mm-hmm. And
so... Ervil sends his youngest wife, Raina, to... I'm trying to decide when to tell you this part. We'll just talk about Raina for a second. So Raina was one of those that Ervil decided needed to be claimed, I guess, at 12. She was 12 when he started pursuing her, and he forced her to marry him and said that if she didn't, she would go to hell.
Gross.
So, like, she has to. Also, if she doesn't, she'll just get murdered.
Right. Like, yeah.
But so, like, she's super brainwashed. Like, she knows. But then also, Ervil's stepdaughter, don't know how that happened. Apparently, he took wives. He just would claim people his, very Mormon-y.
Right, yeah.
Ervil's stepdaughter Ramona and Raina went to Allred's medical office in Utah wearing wigs, sunglasses, and bulky clothing, and they went to kill him because Ervil wanted him dead. So they go into, because he's a doctor, like of some kind. And so they go into the doctor's office and Raina shoots him and then they like run out. One guy in the waiting room tries to stop them, but like he backs off when he's like, oh, guns, bye.
Right.
Fair.
Yeah.
And so they go back out to the truck that they had been in and they're sitting there talking to each other. And Raina says she's not sure if Allred is dead. Like, she shot him, but she's like, I don't know if he's dead. And their orders were, you have to make sure that he's dead. So they fucking went back in and shot him again in the face. And like,
oh my God.
It sounds so incredibly fucking cold. Like, holy God. Like, you went in and shot him, you left, and then you came back in and shot him again. But probably they were because so they knew, afraid.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they knew if they didn't,
they were so afraid
they were going to die.
That they would be killed for not fulfilling his orders.
Right. Because they knew they would die.
So Ervil hoped that Verlin would show up to Allred's funeral. And so 3 of Ervil's followers went to the funeral with rifles, but there were police officers there, so they left without killing Verlin, and then they left in fear. Like, they're terrified that Ervil is going to have them killed for failing.
Right.
Now, long, complicated story that I'm not telling you. Watch the documentary, because it's insane. The whole thing is insane. Like, there's a time when the police literally have, like, Ervil, and they don't believe that it's Ervil, and so they let him go. Like, it's a whole it's a whole bananas thing.
Oh my gosh.
But so at some point they finally get Raina and Ramona and like they arrest them.
Right.
As well as Mark and Victor, who were Raina's brothers, and another stepson of Ervil's that had been part of it somehow. Like, it's a whole big thing. So get all of them. They go to trial, but in trial, Raina claimed that she wasn't involved, that she didn't know Allred, that And since no one could identify her because they'd had on disguises, like no one could say that it was her.
Right.
Somehow they all end up getting acquitted. And they just walk out free. And of course, everyone in the cult's like, it's because God wanted this, you know?
Oh my God.
So, like, it's batshit. It's batshit. And so during all of this, because, like, lots of people, I mean, I'm telling you the highlights of the people who are being murdered, but, like, a lot of people get murdered.
It sounds
Ervil
like it.
is in hiding because the FBI is after him. He is on the FBI's 10 most wanted list at this point.
I would say so. I mean, geez Louise.
And so, like, he's in hiding. A lot of his family are in hiding. One of them or two of them on the documentary, two of his kids talk about how they were just suddenly, like, they're just told to get in a car. They get in the car. They end up in Denver. They're living in, like, a 3-bedroom apartment. One wife per bedroom. Like, so 3 of the wives were there, and there were, like, 20 plus kids, and they all just have, like, a blanket, and they're sleeping in the living room. Like, that's...
Oh, my gosh.
And they're not supposed to go... They never went outside because they didn't want anyone to know who was there and how many were there. Like, it's a whole big thing. It's insane.
God.
So, like, Ervil's bebopping around, and they're here doing this, and they're all sending him money so that he still has the ability to go and do what he needs to because, you know, God's chosen, blah, blah, blah. But so they're at this point, like, they're sending most of the money to him. The kids were talking about how they would go to, like, a Goodwill drop box, and, like, the small, they would, like, put the smallest one, like the big drop box or whatever, like a chute. They would put the smallest one down in the chute so that they could push clothes back out, and they would just hope that there's clothes in there that would fit them. Like, that's how they got clothes.
Oh my gosh.
They ended up opening, like, an appliance repair shop, which is a thing that, like, they all did. It's so bizarre. So I guess that's some shtick that they were good at.
So is he still in Mexico at this point? He's
bebopping around through the United States.
Okay.
Through Mexico. He's coming and going and doing. He's all over the place.
Okay.
Wherever he wants to be, basically. Because he's still converting people and collecting tithing money and all sorts of whatever. But so they have an appliance repair shop where they make the kids, like, work 12-hour days, 6 days a week.
Ew.
And I'm talking, like, little kids, too.
Yeah.
And they're scrubbing, like, these filthy old appliances. They talked about having to clean rat droppings and cockroaches coming out of stuff. Ew. And I'm just like, ew. And all this just so they could make money to give him. Because they were living on, like, nothing.
Yeah.
They were giving almost everything to Ervil. So I mentioned there are other people that get murdered. One that was really disturbing to me is that Ervil had a daughter named Rebecca, who he had married off to someone when she was much too young to get married, of course.
Right, yeah.
But she was apparently really suffering from severe mental illness and was causing problems. And so he had his followers take her, you know, a couple of people, take her to the woods, strangle her, and then bury her because they were concerned that she was going to draw too much attention to them and what was going on. And on top of that, she was pregnant with her second child at the time. She was only like 18.
Oh my gosh. Talk about harsh, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's some cold-blooded shit right there.
One of Ervil's henchmen, Dean Grover Vest, had talked about leaving the church. So Ervil had one of his wives named Vonda go kill him. But you can't leave.
Just because he had talked about it.
You can't leave. So eventually, out of some crazy whatever, Ervil is eventually caught.
Thank God.
So he was in a small town at this point in Mexico and was hundreds of miles away from, like, any real authorities. But the locals kind of knew who he was, and people were kind of concerned about the crazy cult.
Right.
Because at this point, like a year before Jonestown had occurred, and everybody is like, oh, shit.
Right. Like
cults can
yeah.
go really scary and bad. Like, it's not just whatever you do you. It's, oh, shit.
Right.
So they end up bringing him in, and they take him over to America and give it to the FBI, where he is tried and convicted and given life in prison because thankfully one of his sons was a witness for the prosecution, even though he was terrified that he was going to be killed in retaliation.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's fair.
So this is where it should end, but it doesn't.
Oh.
I mean, to be fair, this next part I'm sure you expect, because like all weird, mentally ill, douchebaggy cult leaders, Ervil started writing.
Oh.
And I mean, like, crazy shit tons of writing. Like, he would write all night long and like would fill legal pads within like days. Like, would just fill multiple legal pads with his crazy. And so he would
add this on mine, but my dude started painting. Like, he was doing artwork and trying to sell it on some kind of like prison exchange or whatever. Anyway, some kind of like exchange thing, and it became the same where it was like, you can't profit while you're in jail, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. But I'm just like, why? You know? It's like, but yeah.
But so
they start writing. I feel like that's even more psychotic because you're just like,
well, and he's giving it to his wives that are visiting, any followers that visit. It's like he's getting his crazy out.
Right.
And then he died. He was found dead in his cell in 1981. He was 56 years old. Multiple confusing, conflicting information. Maybe it was natural causes. Maybe it was a heart attack. Maybe he punched himself in the throat and so he suffocated.
You're like, we don't know.
It's a whole lot of weird, because like, you don't just die at 56 without there being like a very specific thing that happened.
Right.
So like, that was weird. And I didn't go down that rabbit hole because it's like, whatever. And so this is where it should end. But it doesn't. So his followers now have all of his crazy writings, and they turned the 400-page manifesto into the Book of the New Covenants.
No.
And in this Book of the New Covenants, there is a hit list of 50 people who needed to be blood atoned.
Oh my gosh.
Now, mostly it was people who had left the church or had otherwise crossed him.
Right.
Or whatever. Course. But it did also include former President Carter because...
Why?
This was one of those weird things that made me laugh. So... there was a time when Ervil was writing to the then President Carter, basically asking him to join the cult and to tithe because a nice presidential salary sounds nice. But then later he writes, I mean, he's not okay. He's absolutely suffering from mental illness. But at some point he starts writing saying that he, in fact, is the president, not Carter, and that also he is Jesus. And you're like,
no.
Okay. Sure. Why not?
You're like, what?
But so at this point, his followers are being led. It gets confusing. For a while, it's sort of led by Dan Jordan, but he kind of leaves. He sort of takes some of Ervil's wives and children. Complicated story. Again, watch the documentary. But they're in the United States. But in Mexico, one of Ervil's sons, who is just a teenager, named Hiram. I think it was Hiram. I think that's right. I might be wrong, but I swear. Who at this point is now arming even like the 6-year-olds with guns. Like everyone is being taught how to shoot and to shoot all the things. And so he is now running everything and is decided that he needs to carry out his father's orders.
Oh, no.
So October 1987, Dan Jordan gets murdered. And
oh, no.
It's pretty awful. Like, some of them go to him pretending that they want to join him, that they think he's right, and they like work for him or whatever, but then they go camping.
So it's all just subterfuge, like,
mm-hmm.
like
and they go camping, and like he goes to take a leak, and this one time he leaves his gun behind because he didn't super trust them, but like wanted to. Right. Yeah. So he goes to take a piss, and then they shoot him.
Oh my gosh.
But then the next year in 1988, the 4 o'clock murders happen. And this is bonkers to me. So like, this is Eddie Marston, who is one of Ervil's stepsons, Mark and Dwayne Chenoth, who again had been followers, had been, you know, nothing super bad, they didn't, whatever, it didn't make him happy, are in 3 separate locations. Like, they live in 3 separate towns. They each run their own appliance repair shop. I shit you not. And for all 3 of these, they send one person, like they call them out to like come look at an appliance somewhere, and it's a setup so that they all get shot. And all 3 of the killers are wearing the exact same suit. They're driving the same truck. It happens at exactly 4 o'clock. It's the same ploy for all 3. Like, it's insane.
Wow, that's like really thought out, man.
Yes. And it's just like, what the hell? Unfortunately, Dwayne's 8-year-old daughter, Jennifer, decided to tag along with him that day, so she also died.
Oh, no.
Now, I will say lots of people were murdered, and the estimates of how many people that were connected to Ervil and his followers they vary, because some of them, you know, have never been recovered, but they presume are dead.
Right.
There's also some geographical issues because, hello, Mexico, Utah, Colorado, Texas, California, all over the place.
Right.
So the estimate is anywhere between 25 and 50.
Oh, wow.
Depending on...
That's a pretty big discrepancy.
It is, but it's still a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
And there were several people who were connected with the cult that went missing, including one of Ervil's wives, Lorna Chenoth LeBaron, another rival polygamist Mormon named Robert Hunt Simons, and then anyone who had joined and then left. So like Naomi Zarate and Leo Ivaniuk, they think probably were also murdered.
Yeah.
Now, this is also where it should end.
Oh my gosh.
And it is almost over. So at that point, you know, lots of people have died. Some people took their own lives. Some, like, there's a lot of sad stories through here, and people who just, you know, didn't know what to do.
This sounds like some kind of like mafia mob bullshit.
It so is. Well, so like, now, I'm glad you mentioned that. So the colony still exists in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And you may know that Mexico has a lot of drug cartel issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you may also remember El Chapo. Do you remember El Chapo?
Yes. I recall.
So,
yeah.
El Chapo's territory was really close to this colony, like where they were living. There's like a couple of different homesteads, I don't know how to describe it, that were connected on the same road or whatever. But that was also a really popular drug trafficking road. And so there's almost like an agreement between them and El Chapo to, like, they would let them through the checkpoints to go home. Some suspect that El Chapo helped them get some of the guns that they had.
Oh, wow.
But so once El Chapo was extradited to the U.S. and the other cartels start coming in trying to fight over the drug empire, things got messy. So in 2019, in that route or whatever that kind of connected the two little homesteads, conclaves, I don't know what you call them, that had never been a problem for them during the El Chapo years, they were attacked by a group of sicarios, is the word that they used. Whatever. And they ended up murdering 9 of the women and children living there. Because there's no men. They're all doing shit somewhere else. It's mostly just the wives and the kids that are there. So, like, there's still death and murder and destruction happening everywhere.
Wow. That's nuts.
So, a lot of people died.
That's crazy.
But I will end this story with this last statement. Ervil never killed anyone directly.
I was getting ready to ask. He seemed like he was one of those guys who never got his hands dirty, and he just had everybody else do his dirty work for him.
He had his wives, his children, and his followers murder anywhere between 25 and 50 people. And that is why he is truly the Mormon Manson. Like, holy fuck, man.
He never actually did it himself.
No, of course not. Don't want to get my little hands dirty. Ew, ick, ew.
I don't have to do any work.
God, such a fucking asshole. But like,
right.
So like the kids that are on the documentary, like they're all grown-ups now and surprisingly well-adjusted human beings. Because they went through like horrific trauma and abuse and forced marriages and grooming and terrible things. But like,
and they obviously have gotten good therapy since then.
I mean, like they've really managed to come out to the other side, you know, and some of them talk about their escape, you know, when they were able to leave and flee, and they had to go into hiding because, you know, you'll get murdered. Because obviously he didn't care if it was your kid or not, his kid or not, he'd kill him anyway.
Obviously, yeah.
But so, like
he did not discriminate.
He did not. So the son that took over when he died, and another son took over. Again, just teenagers. They're like kids. So,
wow.
It's gross. But fascinating. Had never heard of it ever before.
No.
And I'm like, so many people fucking died. And like the 4 o'clock murders happened in the States. So
that's
like
nuts.
You think that you would have heard about it just from like that. But, whoa.
Right. Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
So there it is. That's the story of Ervil LeBaron.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we had some doozy cults this time.
I know. I mean,
that people don't know about.
No. Apparently there is also like a made-for-TV movie about it. From like the 80s maybe. And there's a scene in the documentary where like the grown children are like watching it and laughing over how ridiculous this is because like anytime, because like most of them experienced some kind of an FBI or police raid where like they came in or whatever. And they talked about how they had been conditioned that if they asked them anything, no matter what the question was, the only thing they could say was, I don't know. I don't know. Not allowed to say anything else. And like I was like, okay.
Wow.
Crazy. But anyway. Yay for culty cults.
Thank you for that terrible story.
You're welcome.
That was pretty terrible.
All right. So on a more fun note, Claire, what are you judging this week?
I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I guess I can. Well, I'm not really a judge. So I'll just tell you all a little story. Which kind of cracked me up. I told you about it.
Story time with Claire.
Story time with Claire. I went to a show and I saw somebody that I hadn't seen like since August. And I mean, I've not lost that much weight since August, like 25, 30 pounds. It's not like I've lost like 150 pounds since August. Okay. Like, it's not like I look that different. Anywho, this person came up and was like, wow, have you been doing a lot of running? And I was like, no, I haven't been running. Then the next thing was, oh, are you sick? Are you diseased? Are you ill? No.
Like, do you have the syphilis?
Yeah, I was like, oh, are you stressed? That was it. He's like, are you stressed or diseased? Are you sick? No, I'm healthy, thanks. No, I'm healthy. I'm
what
fine.
A ridiculous question to ask anybody.
And
then, are you sick?
Yeah, like lowers voice. Are you stressed? Are you diseased? Like,
are you diseased? What the hell?
Oh, and then it was like, did you have the surgery?
Oh, no. The surgery.
Mm-hmm. No, did not. Didn't see a weight loss doctor. Thanks for asking.
We gotta get better at how we approach these things.
Like, I'm like, that is a first.
Are you diseased?
That's a first for me. Is like somebody asking if I'm sick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, guys, come on. Like, ugh, I don't even know where to start with that. Like, that's I'm judging. I'm judging really hardcore right now.
Totally fair.
Like I said, it's like I've not seen this person since I'm like August. I think it was like August, and I'm just like I said, I've only lost like 25 or 30 pounds. It's not like I've lost an entire person.
I mean, it's an entire child of sizable.
I mean, like an adult person.
It's
not like I've lost 150 pounds in 2 months. It's, jeez. Anyway, it was just kind of funny to me. I was like, I kind of had to laugh about it. And it's just, and I went back and I told people I was with, and it was just like, can't you just say, and it was like, oh, well, you look, by the way, you look great.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I went back and told him what he said. It's like, why can't you just like say that? By the way, you look great, and just like be done.
Yeah. Because then it's like you can choose to talk about it if you want to.
Yeah, end of conversation. Why do we have to like bring everything else into it? Like, are you diseased? Are you stressed or diseased or sick? Like, what?
When I get stressed, I want to eat all the bad things.
Same.
So I'm like, tell me about this stress where I stop eating. What is that like?
Right.
Is that a response to stress? Because that's not mine.
No.
Mine is, hey, look, I can eat this whole bag of potato chips. Yay, me.
Right. Right, in one sitting. Yep. Anyway, but it was just like, what the hell?
Yeah. We as a culture need to get better at just not doing things that are like that. Especially when it comes to like body type or image, or like just be like, you look really good,
Right.
That's all. Because then it's like,
and I don't mind people asking how much I've lost, because I mean, it's obvious I've lost weight. I don't mind that. I'll tell them, I've like right now I'm like sitting at like 81, 82 pounds, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they say, oh my gosh, how much have you lost? You look great. I'll tell them, yeah. I'll be like, I've been going to a weight loss doctor. They've, put me on some drugs, and I've been watching what I'm eating, and now I need to start working out. I don't want to, because it's going to hurt. I'm going to be sore. I have like a week and a half where I won't be able to move. No, but,
that's the incorrect Claire.
What?
Claire, You are not picking up 8-pound weights, okay? Don't do that. Pick up 2-pound weights at most.
Look at her. She's like already fussing at me.
Well, because like this is what you do. You're not like normal people who are like, I'm going to slowly work my way into a routine and like baby step my way in. You're like, I'm going to pick these 25 pounds up and strap them to my ankles, and I'm going to jog for 3 hours. And I'm like stop doing that.
My going easy is like, oh, I'm going to do these squats with 10-pound weights.
Yeah, nope.
And April's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Just do the fucking squat. Like, I don't...
Yeah, she's like, don't use weights.
Start with, like, the nothing. Let your body work. Because I think maybe that's what the thing is. Your body freaks the shit out. Like, oh, shit. Now I have to do, like, all the things. So, like, I got to hold on to all of my weight just to survive this. You're stressing out your body, Claire.
It's probably right.
Just take a nice walk around the block.
I know.
Start small. Work your way up.
You're not wrong. You know, because I'm one of those people where I'm just like, I can't half-ass it when I'm like, oh, I'm going to lift all the weights. Yeah. But, you know, I'm almost 40 now, so I need to like slow my roll on that. So,
like, I mean, I'm over here being like, why do you have weights at all? But like... no more than 2, like at least spend like the first 2 or 3 weeks with 2-pound weights and then increase.
April's like, don't use weights, just use your body weight.
Like, gravity's hard enough. I don't know what you're doing. Like, shit.
Oh God, she's like, what is wrong with you?
Huh.
She's like, you're awful. Stop it. No, anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna judge that. It happened a couple weeks ago, and I'm just like,
that is a good judge.
That's living like rent free in my head right now, just because it's like,
are you diseased?
Yeah, that the whole like normal conversation and lower voice. Are you stressed?
Are you stressed? Are you diseased? Are you sick?
Are you sick?
Wow.
Yeah. Did you get the surgery? You know, it's like, no, I didn't.
Oh God.
None of your business if I did, but you know, it's like.
That's amazing.
Oh my God. Anyway, it was just kind of funny to me. It was like, that's a first in all this. It's a first. Like, oh my God. Yikes. Anyway, so yeah, guys, if you see somebody who's lost a lot of weight or from what you remember, don't start off by saying, are you stressed or diseased or sick? Don't ask them that. Please don't. And don't ask them if they've had the surgery. Just say, you look great. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
Walk away.
That's really enough. You're like, gosh, I haven't seen you in a while. You're looking really good. Oh, thank you. At which point I could then offer, I've been doing blah, 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 and it's really worked for me. Or just not say anything at all, and then you're just like, okay, then there we go. Conversation over.
And walk away.
It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my judge this week.
Excellent.
Y'all can laugh at that. Because I kind of chuckled to myself. So I was like, that's something. Yeah. Anyways, what are you judging?
So this week, I am judging the magic of parrots cursing. Have you heard about this?
No.
So I don't remember which zoo, because all I know is that it's in England, and that's all I need to care about. So there is a zoo in England that takes in abandoned parrots, because parrots live for a long ass time.
Mm-hmm.
And so right before COVID, they took in 5 parrots that had a bit of had some unique vocabulary. They're very sweary parrots. They like to swear. And so they had tried like segregating them away from the other parrots, because they're like, we can't put these parrots on display. Like, people are gonna be like, holy fuck. Like, no.
Right.
But it didn't really work. They still was swearing, because they just had each other, so they were swearing a lot.
Right.
And so they decided, you know what? Let's just let's just put them out and see what happens. And so like they are now in like the big, all the parrots are together, and they have signs out warning people that there may be some colorful language, and that it's probably best to, you know, if it's concerning to you, move away, take small children away. But of course, everybody loves it. Who doesn't love a sweary parrot?
Right.
Like, that's just, and he's like, it's all the common ones. And it just cracks me up because I'm like, I need to go visit the sweary parrots and just be like, yes, please. Yes, please. But one of my favorite things is in the article that I read, they were talking about how, you know, parrots learn from, you know, their people.
Right.
You know, so for at least one of the parrots, if not all of them, because I wasn't sure, because I'm sure that those 5 weren't the only sweary parrots. But,
right.
For at least one of them, they talked about how a woman had come to donate or surrender or whatever the parrot. It had been her husband's parrot. He had passed, and said that he had taught them all the sweary words, like all the bad words. And
now that guy is doing the Lord's work.
Well, so they were talking about how parrots mimic not only what you say, but they mimic your voice. And so they could tell that he was not the one who taught the parrot all the swear words. It was absolutely her. And I'm like, that's hilarious.
Oh, so she was lying.
She had lied through her teeth.
That's funny. They can tell that she was lying and blaming it on her husband, and it wasn't him.
They were like,
that's hilarious.
That sounds an awful lot like her voice.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny.
So I'm here to enjoy all the sweary parrots. I'm here. I want sweary birds in my life. Like, please. Yes, please.
Yes. Let's go see the sweary parrots.
So that's my judge. If you are going to get a parrot or a bird that can mimic you, be sure to teach it all the best swear words.
Yes. I agree. Yes.
But that's my judge. That's all I got.
I like that judge.
Thank you. Which means that it must be time for tarot time with April. A spooky. Well, Claire, we must ask the universe a question. But what will that question be? I'm pretty sure it's my turn, but let's see. Universe, oh universe. What do I need you to tell me this week? Ooh, I know. Let's play. What are the chances that Claire and I will either join a cult or start a cult? Is there cultness in our future? How about that? I mean, anyone can get caught in a cult, right?
I mean, technically, I guess.
We have the Knight of Swords.
I suppose so.
And the Queen of Wands. I love it. It's Minerva. And the... Confusing. I think it's just the Ace of Pentacles, but there are 3 little hedgehogs on it.
Hedgehogs?
And they're inverted.
Oh, inverted.
I mean, I say hedgehogs. They're probably like mice or possums or something. I don't know what they are. Okay. Claire?
Yep.
It's time for you to start a cult. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Good. All right. So this is the Come At Me Bro. Let's see. Sometimes you meet people who are so arrogant that you can tell they've never been punched when they deserved it. So apparently we need some humility about our culty life. So
apparently.
Come at me, cult, but also like maybe don't come at me.
But don't.
And then we have our favorite, our Minerva McGonagall card. The Queen of Wands is funny and warm, grounded and calm. She's friendly and welcoming, and she comes up in people with a great sense of humor. Lots of energy, lots of confidence, and serves up lots of opportunities to laugh your ass off. Let's see. There is openness and trust that everything is going to be okay. Maybe that's how they get you. That's the cult trying to get you. We're like, come at me, bro. The cult's like, oh, everything is calm and nice and wonderful here. Right?
Right.
Right? All right. So then we have the Ace of Pentacles inverted. Let's see. Money security will literally fall out of the hand. It's resting lightly in the palm when it's right side up. No stress, no worry. But if it's upside down, everything falls away. How do you feel when money falls away from you? No! We're going to get taken in by a cult, Claire. They're going to steal our money. No!
They're going to steal our money.
We're going to get caught in a culty scam. Or... come at me, bro. We're starting a cult. We tell everyone how great and wonderful and calming and peaceful everything is. And then we take all their money.
We take their money.
Yes. That's right.
I'm all about that. I can't afford to lose any money.
It's like, no, please don't take advantage of me, culty cults. So,
right.
But that is how cults get you. They're like, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, but actually, we have all these things we can give you if you just give us all of your money.
Right. Right.
Right.
Like, no.
What will we talk about next week?
Something good.
Ooh, more lighthouses. I do enjoy a good lighthouse. So that'll be different. Who knows what that's going to be like? Psh, LOL.
Find a lighthouse to talk about.
I believe in us.
She only put that on there for that one stupid lighthouse that she talked about.
There's so many lighthouses. I love all the lighthouses, Claire.
She only wanted to talk about the Flan and Isle one. That's the only one she wanted to talk about.
I love that you remembered the name of it. That's impressive. I couldn't pull that out of my head. Wow.
I don't know how I pulled that out.
I don't either, but I mean, it's amazing. But join us next week as we talk lighthouses.
Yay.
Probably haunted or murderous. That's really about all there is.
Right.
So that'll be fun. Yay. But until then, you can find us in all the things and at all the places at
Brunch and Judge.
Please follow, like, comment, subscribe. And you can send us more topics for our wheel or any stories that you'd like us to cover to us at
brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
So until next time, keep on brunching.
And keep on judging.
And don't join any cults unless they're ours. Bye.
Bye. Bye.